I'm Brant Menswar, keynote speaker and best-selling author, here to tell you about my new keynote experience, Unbreakable Culture. In the late 15th century, Japanese shogun Ashikaga Yoshimasa sent his favorite broken tea bowl off to be repaired. When it returned, the bowl was held together with these ugly metal staples, and he was more than disappointed with the result. So he asked some local craftsmen to develop a new method of repair that would emphasize the beauty of the broken pieces rather than trying to hide them. The craftsmen grabbed the most valuable resource they had access to, gold, and they used a mixture of lacquer and gold to create a strong adhesive that could be used to glue the broken pieces back together. This technique, called kintsugi, literally translates to golden joinery. Over time, kintsugi became more than just a technique for repairing broken objects. It also became a symbol of resilience and perseverance in the face of adversity. Look, if you want to become an unbreakable leader, there's really only one thing you have to accept. You're already broken. If you can accept that and stop trying to keep things at arm's length so that they won't break you, and rather focus on what's holding the brokenness together, that are deeply held personal core values. I call those our black sheep values. Those are the most valuable resource you possess. Like a black sheep's wool that cannot be dyed, these values do not change and are what make us the true originals we were meant to be. They allow for unique contributions. They're what hold us together during difficult times and what allow us to connect to create an unbreakable culture. I've spent the last 3 years discovering the 5 binding values needed to create and sustain an unbreakable culture. These shared values come from more than 10,000 employees who have taken our assessment, 2.5 years worth of dedicated research, and a deep dive into the psychology of leadership at Cornell University. So you start to see how these 5 binding values work together to actually create that unbreakable culture we're going for. It all starts with connection. That's what we said. It all starts with connection first. So connection is about defining and aligning our networks. We want to have that maximum impact. We move from connection to integrity. We have to create the safe space if people are going to show up. If we can create that safe space and build that emotional culture that we're trying to do, we'll get their authenticity, right? We want unique contribution. Unique contribution only happens when people feel that they have a safe space to show up. If they can do that, we start to move towards the need for personal growth. We start to set goals, not just the end goal, but process goals, right? Making sure we have some sort of feedback mechanism in place so that we start to know when we are doing well. We start to see that we are following that path of personal growth so that we stay engaged at all times. And once we get through that, we really move towards creativity. Not how creative we are, remember. This is more about creating solutions, making sure that we empower people to make decisions. We give them the authority, not just responsibility. If we can do that, they start to engage at a different level. We start to see them reach out to connect with someone else, and then the wheel begins to spin. It becomes a self-sustaining process. And that is how you build an unbreakable culture. Well, when we use what matters most to us as our motivation to connect and drive performance, we move from half-hearted compliance, which nobody wants, to wholehearted contribution, which everybody wants. Then we have to start to build bridges. If we can build bridges between our values and our organizational values, then we can safely cross over whatever potential dangers might actually lurk below, all the while driving stronger, more dynamic connections in the process. So how do we use these 5 binding values to build an unbreakable culture? Better yet, What are your black sheep values that make you a resilient leader? I can't wait for you to find out. I'll see you soon.